So here we are, another case that needs opening. Packed away. For many reasons, forgotten. Where to start with this one? This is part of a collection of 42. The answer to everything. Forgive me, I know time is precious, but occasionally you just need to take a moment and take it all in. Because you just never know when you're going to be back down this road again. Maybe never. Natural history. I love this set of boxes. I wish they made more of them. They're so pretty. And yet they're so fragile. They're so very, very fragile. You know? It's just covered cardboard and with a beautiful design. The Order of the Massachusetts Agricultural Society. So beautiful, you know? It's worth taking a look at. It's one of the things that I love about the gowns and things that we create. Just the boxes alone are so pretty, and sometimes they're just simply gold. Just simply gold. But this one's special. Not so much on what's outside, but what's inside. So, the answer, 42, right? 42, and the answer at everything. Let's get started. Yesterday was my birthday. I got this one year for my birthday. I think I got it from my mom. I'm now 52. I talked in the last one about my dad. And there's a moment in heaven. I don't want to see myself, do I? Try to get this in where I'm not in the reflection, right? Tricky. Very tricky. This is my dad's senior picture. Maybe not quite. Yes, I have clothes on this time. Thank you. This is my dad, Ronnie Roy Stevens, Bethany, Missouri, and Eagleville, Missouri. Isn't that funny how God does things? And then I was born in Ringgold County. But this is my dad, and he's blonde. He had white blonde hair when he was born. I wish you could see it. Do him justice. Whenever he grows his beard out, it would be red. You know, people say, Robin, why would he choose you? And it's really for God to say. But every time someone asks the Bible verse that I get, it's basically, it says that the Jews are dying away. Their lines are dying off. And there's Irish in my bloodline. And there's Indian, American Indian. I have high cheekbones like the Greeks. So that's my dad. He's very handsome. 6'7". And you know his shoe size? He wears a 13E in his boots. Even to this day, when I hug him, I feel so small. And I'm 5'11". He is wonderful, you know? I just love him. He's not perfect. But he did his best, you know? So moving along, right? Moving along. I don't know. He's still alive. He's still alive. He's almost 80. He's a year younger than my mom. So some photos. You're like, who are these people? Who could they possibly be? We look on the back, and Dolly Anderson Cooper is my grandma, my mother's mom. Anna Mae Smith. My mom, Reva, her brother, Clyde, and Aunt Rita. And later, they had a younger sister. That's my mom. Many generations are sitting there. We have long life in my line. My mom and dad are both alive, and my mom's 80 now. I talked about this earlier in another video. This is about the last time I wore pink. I was in junior high. It's 8th grade. So yeah, 8th grade. My friend Melody, her mom, made this dress for me. We picked out the fabric and she made it for me. It's the last time I wore pink in any meaningful way. And my friend Vicky, she wore pink all the time. This is my friend Vicky. She's amazing. She's married. She fell in love at her job at the grocery store. And last I heard, she was in management there. She was worked the register, and her soon-to-be husband was a bagger. He bagged groceries. It's me mowing the yard. This is me and my friend Vicky. She had a trampoline. It was amazing. There was this movie that came out with Charlie Sheen, Wild Thing. I don't know if it was called that. I can't remember. But he was a baseball player. And anyway, and that Tone Loc song came out, Wild Thing. But I just love the movie, him as a baseball player. And anyway, I had this shirt. This is my friend Vicky, and she lived with her grandparents and her brother Colin. That's me there on the left. And Vicky. Junior high. Crazy, right? No, it just doesn't come out as well. Maybe this one. You know how Polaroids are. They're decent. I've got my eyes closed. Anyway. So when you go to school here in Texas, the home of Jocelyn's, they are who sells caps and gowns and class rings. And they offer the senior book that you can get, or they used to. I mean, it changes from year to year. And you can put all kinds of memories and things in it. And if you're overseas, your senior year is your last year in high school. You're generally 17 to 18 years old. And it makes you think. I put a bunch of things in here. Our pilot, accept our hope, be in the Lord. We sail the ship in vain. There is no compass but his own to make the journey plain. Except he lead us past the shoals that hide beneath the foam. How shall we reach the harbor and the shining lights of home? He bringeth them unto their desired haven. Psalms 107 verse 30. Dear Robin, hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful summer. Much love, Uncle Carl and Aunt Bernice, Scotty and Jacob. Uncle Carl and Aunt Bernice. Uncle Carl was my Grandpa Stephen's brother. Long life. Such long life. I was traveling. I was in the Drum and Bugle Corps, the Railman Drum and Bugle Corps, and I traveled across the United States and Canada every summer from the age of 15 to 21. There's a year in there where I skipped because I stayed at college when I was 20. But I would travel, and I was in the pit. I played percussion. That's me right there. And that's my friend Dawn and Jill Austin. They are wonderful. We were all percussionists together. And that year, I think this was from 1989. I put different years. I graduated in 91, but I put different things in here. But the Railman Drum and Bugle Corps had existed for 50 years. And I think this picture was taken in 1989. I don't know. I'd have to look. But we celebrated. It was wonderful. The other thing you get is you get these invitations that you send out to your graduation, and you get these graduation cards that has your name on it, and you get extras and you trade them with your friends so that you can keep them so you have their full name written here. And you also get, this was a picture taken from the prom in 1991. This is my friend Esmeralda. I put a bunch of things in here, just little things that had meaning to me. This one is State of Texas, County of Ellis. This is just some little thing. As my address, we lived on Sandy Lane in Waxahachie. Do you know what's funny? The name Waxahachie, it is actually, you look it up and it says something else, but when we were there, it's an Indian word that means soil. It's the type of soil. It says, Dear Robin, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you as you graduate from Waxahachie High School. Since I am the juvenile court judge for the Ellis County, I often deal with young people who are in trouble with the law. It gives me great pleasure when I can recognize young people for positive achievement such as yours. As a charge to you and your graduating class, I'd like to say, set the goals you want to achieve and work your hardest to reach them. But in doing so, never forget to be the finest person you can be. Again, congratulations to your graduation and welcome to what I hope is for you a worthwhile, productive future as an adult citizen in Ellis County. Sincerely, Penny Reddington, Ellis County Judge. Can you imagine getting a letter of congratulations, graduating high school from a judge? To be honest, I love the letterhead. Look at that. The courthouse there is so beautiful. It's made of granite. You learn about it when you grow up in Waxahachie. There's this, it's just beautiful. The place is beautiful. There's a rich history there. This is something else that got stuck in here. This was actually from college. I went to a junior college. I got a full scholarship from Navarro Junior College. I didn't have much money, but I got accepted to several places. University of North Texas, and I also got accepted to Juilliard, but I really didn't have much money. I worked a 40-hour job. I only had about $2,000, and I had to do what I could. And while I was in Navarro Junior College, I was a conductor, orchestra conductor for the Sound of Music. For the community place. And what's so amazing is the lady that put it on. Let me see if I can find her. The choreographer, Sonia Haynes. She did choreography for the TV show Punky Brewster. She was also a dancer in My Sweet Charity, and she worked with Bob Fosse. And I actually got to take one of her dance classes, so I literally got to learn the dance moves from Sweet Charity and work and learn the warm-ups. I hardly remember them now, but the warm-ups from Bob Fosse himself. It was a junior college, but it had such incredible things, the unique experiences that you just didn't find in other universities. And they care. The university gets some of its funding. There are a lot of future pro football players that have gone there. They get these full scholarships to these big universities, these football players, and they don't do so well. Their grades aren't to par. So they take a year or two off and they send them to Navarro Junior College, where the teachers care. They want you to graduate. They want you to succeed. You have teachers, not teacher fellows from other countries that barely speak the language, trying to teach you algebra or calculus. That's what I experienced at a bigger university. I'm taking a calculus class, and the teaching fellow is from overseas, and I couldn't understand half the words he was saying. If you need help, if you need a tutor, they would provide a tutor for you. This was what college was supposed to be. If you signed up to go to get a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, you got that degree. They worked with you. They taught you. They stuck by your side. It was an agreement between not just the students, but the parents and the university. If you signed up to go here, we're going to do everything we can in our power to help your child succeed. But that's not the case. In a bigger university, you sit down in one class and they say, look to the left and look to the right. Only one of the 3 of you are going to be here by the end of the semester. And you're sitting there thinking, you have no idea how hard I worked to get into this school. You have no idea how hard I've studied, how much I've practiced my profession, my percussion. You have no idea. And that's the attitude that you're throwing at me, is that the people sitting next to me that I just met 5 minutes ago are going to be gone. That's not my fault. That's yours. If they're partying too much, maybe you should call their parents. I love Navarro Junior College, and I am very proud of the degree I got there in music education, vocals and instrumental. It is a very good school with people that have heart and care, and I can only speak because from when I graduated was in the 90s, 1993, but I graduated with almost over 120 hours of school. I took 21 hours each semester. And the one summer semester I took 12 hours. When I graduated from there, I was a senior in college. I worked hard. You know what was special about this night? What was so special about it? Let me see if it says it on here. Opening night was on my birthday. I've had several special birthdays. I was the conductor of an orchestra in a community play on my birthday. And my best friend at the time, her name was Lacrissa. And she was one of the nuns. She was there on stage. I love her very much. And I have very fond memories of her and her family. So I stuck this in here. So, moving on. This was an invitation from my friend Esmeralda. She fell in love and married right out of high school. I was so happy for them. Travis Key. So very happy for them. A wonderful, beautiful couple. My friends. So they put things in here that you fill out to help you, you know. School location, where you went to grammar school, school colors, green and white and red, almost like Christmas colors. It was hunter green, is beautiful. Mascot, things like that. And this was a picture of my dad. And you can see the blonde a little bit better, but it's in black and white. Most of the photos back then were in black and white, and they color touched them up. And this was me. I think I was in kindergarten there. Maybe first grade. I don't know for sure. This is a picture of my mom. I love this picture. So here's what happened. My dad was fighting in Vietnam, and my mom wanted to send him a picture because, you know, men overseas, they have a photo that they keep, and they were engaged. My mom was so happy that before my dad left, he'd asked my grandpa for a hand in marriage, and my grandpa died while my dad was fighting overseas. My grandpa Anderson. So my mom told me this is the only picture she has of herself. She went and paid $50. $50 was a lot of money. And she had her hair done in a beehive hairdo. And it took hours. And it was all the rage. And she hated it. But she took this photo. This was considered risque. You know, like, anyway, she sent it to him, and he kept it the whole time he was over there. Then she told me the next day she had her hair cut short. And she's never had it long again. My mom always had short hair. But she had beautiful hair. I wish she'd let it grow out. Me and my sister was always trying to get her to let it grow out. So there's other things in here about class presidents and things. And just different things that happened. And this was one of my senior pictures. You have like a photo session. Oh yeah, I think I put that I was 6 foot. I'm 5'11", 6 foot, right around there. My eyes aren't really brown. They're different colors. They're specks of green. Just different things. You know, you look back, and this is the railman, one of the photos I took, and I don't even have my railman jacket anymore. I don't know where it got to along the ways, and all the patches and awards that we've won. And I played 4 mallets. This is Tina. She graduated with my sister. Very close, if not considered a member of our family. And my friend Vicky. It's like, how much of this do I want to share, right? Things I do that drive them crazy. Never clean my room, never do the dishes, listen to rock and roll. Well, I do clean my room, but I'm always filming, and there's just stuff everywhere, it seems like, but it's somewhat organized. And I do the dishes. You know, it's funny. The Holy Spirit was asking me, he was like, so I've told you everything that, you know, I don't want to say demands is not the right way. Things he wants from a wife, right? And he's, you know, filling me out. What do you want from a husband? Well, it'd be nice if he did the dishes. And so what does the Spirit do? He's like, I go in there and he just starts talking to me. And he's like, let's do the dishes. I'm like, okay. So I'm like washing the dishes, and he's just talking. And before we're done, we're done. He goes, see, I just did the dishes. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, I just talked you through the dishes. That's it. That's done. So him, if you can imagine, if he had a body, right, just standing there talking to me the whole time, I'm caught up in conversation, don't even realize it, and I'm washing the dishes. This is just something that he does things. You know, it's when you're a servant of the Lord. Anyway. That's my sister and my dad and her boyfriend and her first car. She had a Mustang. That's the first car. Okay, so what is this mask that you see here? So I was part of this program called HOSA, and I can't even remember what it stands for, but I was going to go into the medical field, and they had just started it, and I got in, which is a miracle. And it took 2 classes a day, and we would go and we would work for 3 weeks in different parts of the hospital. And so it was an incredible opportunity. I thought about being in the OBGYN department because so much of the hospital is, well, you're dealing with pain and tragedy and, like, you know, people fighting cancer and people needing surgeries. And I'm like, man, that's kind of sad, right? So my thinking was, well, you know, I'll work in the OBGYN because when people come in here, well, they leave with a baby. You know, it's happy, right? I mean, it's not always perfect, but generally speaking, happiness, right? So they try when you're there, if there's a C-section, they try to schedule it during the day, generally anyway, but they try to schedule it when you're there and when you can observe. So I wore this mask when I got to observe a C-section being done. And I was doing okay. The one thing they told me when I went in there was, and I was 17 years old. Yeah, it was my senior year I did that. Might have been my junior year. I don't know. I was in it for 2 years. Anyway, so, or my senior year. Anyway, so I was in it, and they said, do not become an added problem. And what they mean by that is, if you feel like you're going to faint, do not lock your legs. If you feel like you're going to faint, go out of the room and faint, or just sit down. But don't do that stuff in here, because we're taking care of the mother, and if there's the father there and the baby, and you're just observing, standing to the back. And I stood to the back over by the door, basically. And so that way, if I get to feeling like, holy crap, they don't need to have people stopping what they're doing to come take care of me. Okay. So, and this is allowed. This was a legitimate program. There weren't enough nurses. They looked in the future in the population, and there weren't enough nurses and doctors. There were never going to be enough people in the medical field at the time. So they were trying to get as many people interested in the medical field. And this was an incredible opportunity. And you started learning all these different Latin words, and the breakups of these words, like gastro is stomach and itis means inflammation. So if you put together gastritis, you have the inflammation of the stomach. So you start to learn all these different words, like itis. You throw itis on stuff, well, it's inflamed. You throw gastro on stuff, well, it's something about the stomach. So like a opathy is like when you're going to look at something. So a gastropathy, I can't even say it right now, is when you're actually scoping the stomach. Okay, so I'm like, I'm either going to be a musician or I'm going to be a doctor or a surgeon. And the reason being, I wanted to do both. I had a hard time deciding, but I didn't have the money to get into the medical field. I didn't have the money, and I didn't want to go into debt. And I had a full ride scholarship. I'd been traveling all over the U.S. I did percussion. I did drums and music. But my original plan was I was going to do both. And so anyway, so I'm in there and I'm doing okay. I'm like, okay, this is amazing, right? And the dad is like this big linebacker guy, like strong, like he's got this, right? And he's sitting up there right by his wife's face, like, honey, this is going to be okay. This is good. And he looks, because there's like a curtain, and he looks and he faints right on his wife. He just like, so here she is, they're doing this surgery, and the husband just faints face first onto his wife, literally passes out right there. And I start to get a little hot. I'm like, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. If this guy can't handle it, what the hell am I doing here? I start to have these thoughts like, I'm a lumberjack and I'm not okay. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like, okay, remember your training, just step outside. So I step outside, I'm like, oh my God. And so anyway, so I got to see a C-section, but I was like, the experience, like, maybe that's not the first thing you should see. I mean, I spent time in the medical lab tech, and, we drew blood. We did all kinds of stuff. Like today, they're like, what? You're not a university student doing that crap? No, I was doing that in high school. This, newsflash, this is Waxahachie ISD, Independent School District. This is a state-run school. You're about to find out how badass this school is. I should just flip and show you. But we'll get to it. And it's south of Dallas. Now, I can't speak for it now. I'm not there. But I'm saying this was high school.
I got to work in the cafeteria, and you're thinking, well, what did you do? Just cook food? No, I got to learn about nutrition. All these people that come in the hospital have to have special meals. They have to have special meals after surgery. Some of them can't have sugar. Some of them can't have grains. Some of them can't have greens. You work in a hospital cafeteria, you're a dietitian. You are learning dietitian skills. I got to work in, I'm trying to think of what they call it. Well, I got to work in the ER. That was incredible. I mean, it's like adrenaline rush all the time. There was a guy that came in there that had got stung by a massive, massive amount of hornets. I mean, it was all over his body. I mean, the man could have died. And there was a car wreck while I was in there. And we helped, we'd help. We'd help do blood pressure. We'd do all kinds of things. It was incredible. The experience, the trust, the mentorship. It was amazing. I also got to spend 3 weeks in recovery. So these are people that just came out of surgery, and you learn about what you have to look for, signs that the surgery didn't go well. They're not coming too quick enough. All these kinds of things. In OBGYN, there was a crack baby. I would spend my 2 hours every day. This little baby was born to a mother that had a crack cocaine addiction. I would have to sit at its feet, it laying in front of me, like right here. And I would listen to the heart monitor. And when it stopped, I would run my finger along the bottom of its foot to tickle it so its heart would start beating again. For 2 hours every day, I kept that little baby alive while it was going through detox. There was another little baby they talked about. Sometimes there's babies that are born with more than 2 nipples. And they said, we don't generally tell the parents about it. We just cut that off and sew that up and make that all right. And then sometimes there's babies that are born. They were telling me about just different things. Like, I don't want to say like a tail, but like a little bit of extra tissue that's not supposed to be there. And they say they just cut that. That's just gone. They said if parents see that kind of thing, then they start to, it can affect their marriages. And it's really nothing. When one of my sons was born, his tongue was tied down, which would have made it difficult for him to talk. And the doctor said, within 7 days, after these 7 days, you need to take him to they have a special doctor that does this. And he gave me the name, and they'll just clip a little bit of the tissue under his tongue. He won't even know that he was born tongue-tied, and he'll talk normal. There'll be no problems with his speech, nothing at all. And you know what? There's no problems with his speech. He's perfect. There's nothing wrong. He said that's just a genetic trait that can happen and makes it where talking is a little bit difficult. So here I am. I'm 17 years old. I'm not even 18. I turned 18 in April. And I'm having these incredible experiences. I spent 3 weeks in billing, in where they do all the billing at the hospital. I spent 3 weeks in medical supplies, where you go through each department. This was I was lucky in the order that I got to experience these things. This is one of the last ones that I was in, and I knew where everything was, and I would go and be sure that everything was filled. And you think, well, that's not a big deal having a job in medical supply. Yes, it is. It is one of the most important jobs you can have at a hospital, because you're going to the ER and you're supplying them, making sure they have everything they need for surgeries. You're going to recovery to making sure they have the needles and the syringes and the swabs and everything they have is stocked full. Then you're going to shipping and receiving and being sure that everything that you need is ordered. A lot of this is computerized now, but in the past it was done in person. These were very important jobs. They still are. And then I went and did a stint in rehab. This was a wonderful class. They offered it for 2 years for juniors and seniors. This is how incredible this class was. There was about 12 of us in there, I think. I can't remember the exact number, but 3 of the people came from another school to be in it. There was a little school called Red Oak that was close. They literally left school an hour early and came. It was in the middle of the day so that they could be a part of this class and then have to drive back. That's how special this was. What do you say? I could have been a doctor? I should have been a doctor? I don't know. God puts many paths before us. But I will tell you this, Jesus is the great physician. We'll have a lot in common. And my learning, my experiences has only just begun. But you know what? He'll be able to talk to me about anything and everything. This is my cousin Kevin. No, not Kevin. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. What's wrong with me? Kevin and Stacy are fine and alive. This was so long ago. I'm so sorry. Lisa and Leanne, I should be apologizing. This is Terry. This is Terry. When I was in junior high, he was shot. It affected me a lot. And he died. This was my dog. I had a little dog, a dachshund. His name was Prince Ollie Barron. I named him Ollie. The other names were part of his parents' lineage. And that's when he was a puppy. It's beautiful. He was with me. I got him when I was about 15. When I went off to college, he stayed with my dad and looked after my dad. He was a good boy. He was a miniature dachshund. That's him as a puppy. My mom had lost her dog. She got ran over, and I felt so bad. And I was out with Vicky, and I found these little puppies, and at the store, and I thought, gosh, I wish I could buy my mom this dog. And I showed it to her, told her about it, and we went, and she bought it for me. It wasn't my intention. I just knew she was really sad. So he was around for all of us. Okay, so a little bit sticky here. It's not good. Well, there we go. So, good times and good friends. So, this is me. I was a member of the academic decathlon team. This is the academic decathlon team. Waxahachie High School academic decathlon team from Waxahachie High School are presently preparing for their upcoming competition in spring. Team members consist of back row from left, Misty Rains, David Sklar, Marcellus Saunders, Sharonda Reddick, front row, Robin Stevens, Kara Cagle, Amy Heritage, James Woods, and Kathy Chatawanowicz. Members not pictured include Robert Rosenzweig and Michael Ryan. Students are
The freshman and sophomore levels compete in the academic decathlon in many different academic areas such as math, science, grammar, social science, economics. The octathlon event challenges and encourages intellectual growth and achievement for students. These people are my friends. We were in Region 5 is what they called us, and this is Robbie Reed was the teacher. This was in 1990, and this was in 91. The academic decathlon team. There's a lot here, but Mary Reed was wonderful. Do you know? Sorry, I wasn't really holding that very well, was I? Mary Reed was the teacher, but she was so much more than that. She actually taught the students that it was their last chance. They had these portable buildings at the very furthest reaches of the school. And children that had disciplinary problems, she would send there. The school would send there to her. And they'd have these cubicles that they'd have to stay in to do their work. A lot of these students that were the troublemakers in the school were very intelligent. They were bored. I didn't go there for that reason. I went there for academic decathlon, 1 class a day. And I studied hard. Studied very hard. They're my friends. I actually medaled in academic decathlon. I got a silver, which is second place. I got it in economics. And I almost medaled in, I'm sorry, it was English. Gosh, that was a long time ago. I got a silver in English. I almost medaled in economics. I was 1 question away from getting a bronze in economics. Yeah, that's what it was. Sorry. That's what was so funny about it in English class. I'm sorry. I'm running this long and I don't want to make this into 2 videos. I also competed in percussion. This is Robin Stevens, touring with Drum and Bugle Corps. Robin Stevens, daughter of Ronnie and Reva Stevens of Waxahachie, is spending her summer months touring with the Relman Drum and Bugle Corps. I could tell you all about this. This is a medal. This is a state competition, UIL percussion. I got a first in UIL solo. Just myself, not the band, but myself. It says, get superior ratings. 3 members of the Waxahachie High School band recently received a superior rating at UIL competition. The soloists are from left, John Andrews, Krista Pickett, and Robin Stevens. I also made the National Honor Society. I hardly slept. I don't know if you figured that out yet. I made the National Honor Society. It was so wonderful. My friend Vicki Smith got to induct me. It was this big ceremony. And I had friends. A friend of mine had moved to New York, and I also got to see one of the doctors. And you'll think, how silly is that? But they had a Who Fest. And I got to see Colin. Thought I had another. thought I had a little bit more in there, but anyway, I got to see him at a Who Fest. They came, forgive me, I'm floundering, because I'm, he's like, why is this important, Robin? Why are we doing this? Why are we, I don't know. This is who I am. I've been told so many times that you won't have this. You're just going to flee. You're going to flee. And so, why? This was my senior prom. I have better pictures. I went with my friend Jimmy Woods. Jimmy Woods had been in a car wreck when he was younger, and his mom died. His mom was white and his dad was black. That didn't matter to me. He was also gay. And though I love him very much and I hope for his soul, that really didn't matter to me either. His senior year, he was going to have to move, and when we were freshmen, we were both in the drum line. We both played cymbals. And he was my friend in junior high in band. And I said, that's horrible. Then you should just come to the prom with me. And I'll come to the prom at your school. And he said, okay. And he said, you know what? I'll just go to the prom with you. You don't need to come to my school. And he rented a car, and not like a limo or anything, and I'm so glad. It was nice, and he's my friend. He's my friend, and I love him very much. He's my friend all through high school. These are just graduation invitations. I could go through them, but this is kind of what they look like. This is from Tina and Robin. Thank you for being a real friend and understanding. I really appreciate it. She lived with us. And this is my brother's. This is my cousin Greg's. He graduated the same year I did. Kind of what they look like. Greg Oxley. I'm going too slow. I'm sorry. There's pages that I just didn't get filled out, but. And this is my brother Ronnie, the one that I told you about that we got to name. We named him after Bruce Lee, so his middle name was Lee, and we named him after my dad, Ronnie. He played football. You know what's crazy? He still looks like a football player. He works out. He stays fit. He has incredible fashion sense. The tape is significant. But we were the Indians, the Waxahachie Indians. And then this is my brother. I love very much. We got baptized on the same day. He lives in Galveston. It'll get hit one day. But God promised me. Part of the battles, Galveston gets hit. He lives in Pearland. I don't know for how long. I played basketball in high school. I know the lighting is not very good, but this is me. I played basketball. I think I was a freshman in this one. Or no, this one I was a freshman. Yeah, I was a freshman in this one, and then I got contacts. I played in the post position. The post position is you're on. I was on the right side of the goal, and reaches for the ball. Waxahachie's Robin Stevens, center, reaches for the ball during Tuesday's afternoon game against Corsicana Junior High team at the new Warriors Gymnastics Stadium, or gymnasium. That was my freshman year. I played all the way through high school except my senior year. I had to make some choices. Academic decathlon and band and basketball, and I had a job. I was working 40 hours a week, and anyway, these are photos. The amazing thing about the band was every 4 years they would take the whole entire high school band to Disney World, and they did it once every 4 years, so everybody would get to go at least once. And I was a freshman when I went, and it was only about $50 or $60 because the alumni would raise the money by selling concessions at the football games. So it was very cheap, and we rode in school buses, so it was rough. It was like a 29-hour drive. And so I've got photos in here. I'm just going to kind of flip through them. This one is before then. This was my friend Melody Nolan. She actually worked at Disney for a very long time, but I actually went to Vegas with her and her dad and mom when we were 12 years old. Her dad worked for the post office, and it's where I first thought that, wow, the post office is a pretty cool job. You could take off 3-4 weeks. And we drove in this vehicle here, and me and Melody, we stayed in the back. So when I was 12 years old, I went to Las Vegas. We did more than that. We saw the Grand Canyon, and we saw all kinds of amazing things. And so I put way more things in here. This was when we saw the Doctor Who convention, the TARDIS, Time Lord, and his signing. And this is me, and that's Tina. When I got first in UIL, and Tina did that year too. These were solo. It wasn't like the band won this. We competed in solo music and our own playing. And this is my brother's graduation. And my brother in his car. This car was amazing. My parents, my sister bought it for $300 and drove it from Bill and Ellen Newton, a guy that worked with my dad's boss. And then my brother bought it and drove it and kept it going. This is me at my junior prom, and my sister and her Mustang. This was at Christmas in 1920. In 2019. There's something that I would tell you about this necklace, but he doesn't want me to. My mom bought this for me. It's gone now. That's it. That's all I can. He doesn't want me to hurt you over it. But I'm surprised I have a picture of it. It cost her $99.99. I saw it at the store, and I thought that was so beautiful. And I was so shocked when I opened it up at Christmas. This is my birthday. And my friends. I also took a trip to Washington, D.C. There's a trip. This is me my freshman year doing just the cymbals. I hadn't done drum corps yet. I hadn't become the professional musician. So in junior high, you get to take, it costs like $120, I think. Or maybe it was $500. I think it's $500, something like that. But they took, during spring break, it was like 4 days to Washington, D.C. It's like a tour. And while we were there was a tree I took a photo of, and this was at George Washington's house. It was so old, they said it was alive when he was alive. It was so old that the branches hung on the ground. It's at, I can't think of it. It's at George Washington's home place. This is a blanket that I made. I'm not supposed to talk about this either. I had it until Satan's reign. And I made this with my friend Melody and my mom. Maybe I'll tell you in person one day, but I don't want you to hear about these things. They're just gone. They're just gone. My sister's graduation. And this was my senior year at Christmas. Our family, James, Lindsay was a foster kid that my parents looked after and helped raise. And Tina, and my sister, my friend Vicky, my brother, and me. This is the shirt that I got from going to Disney, and this is the academic decathlon medal that I had gotten. It was the silver, the one I got in English. My mom, when she was trying to do the letters on my birthday cake, the water was messing them up so bad. She says, "It looks like I did this drunk." And so she had this little bitty bottle that she put together and and put it together for me. It was silly. It was still a really good cake. This is my brother and me. This was his induction to the National Honor Society. My brother graduated. He wasn't valedictorian, but he was right up there. He's very, very intelligent. And then this is another birthday. I think this is my freshman year. I've got my hair up. And my sister on her graduation. I don't know. I may have to cut this short. You don't really need to see the list of all the people that graduated in my class, right? That's 91 and... This is my transcript of my grades. And you'll look at it and you'll think, this is crazy. How does she have this GPA? What is this? So they have these different levels of classes that are honors, advanced, and regular. And I took honor classes. Honor classes were a lot harder than regular classes. And so it was difficult. So if you see down here, the way they figure the GPA, 4.0. 4.0 is regular. The classes that are harder, you get a 5.0. Honors classes, you got a 7 in your GPA. So let me see, somewhere in here, I'll say what my GPA is. Hang on. It's like some ridiculous number. Credits, average. Let's see here. I don't know. I don't see it. At the bottom, maybe. I don't know. I should have looked at this in advance. I don't even know what year this is. Let's see. 1990-91. This was my senior year. And I don't know. I guess I'd have to figure it out myself. I thought I'd have it on here. But like this was academic decathlon. Both semesters. Oh, this is HOSA. The HO is HOSA. See, it doesn't look like I took that many classes, but I took a lot. They take so many. See, you take 7 classes. I don't know. It's hard to explain this, and it's been so long since I did this. And you wonder, Robin, why is your grade so bad in band? Oh, I was pissed. I was so very pissed. There was some things that happened. One of the directors got arrested, Mr. Stewart. There was some things going on there. But I was in advanced. I was in honor band. Literally, a man went to prison. And I really don't want to talk about it. Anyway. What else was I taking? I don't know. I took chemistry. I took biology. I took calculus my junior year. I didn't do it my senior year. Physics. There was this guy. What year was this one? This might have been my freshman year. Yeah, Spanish, algebra, biology, advanced English. Anyway, that's on a field trip. Sorry, I'm not even sure if I've got this, if I'm focusing right. Oh, and this was from senior skip day. This is Cherie and was her boyfriend at the time, and Vicky. There's this one day where all the seniors would skip and we'd go to the park. Esmeralda. And my friend Vicky. I need to do something with these or they're going to get ruined. Look at those later. Sorry, moving along. This is just invitations for something else. This was another scholarship that I had won, but I didn't go to what they had going on. I ended up giving it to another student because I wanted it to be used. This was my junior prom. And they gave us these little books that says what the theme is. And it was at Union Station, which is the Reunion Tower. If you look at the Dallas skyline and you see the big ball, we had our proms at the Reunion Tower. I went with Vicky and my friend Elisabeth Sam. I was going to talk about her a little bit. She's passed on. This was my first voter's registration card. You know, I actually voted. I think the first time I voted for Ross Perot Jr. So I told you that Waxahachie was a very special school, a state school. They were going to build the very first superconductor super collider there at Waxahachie. My physics teacher was Doc Hastings. And he had 2 doctorates, one in physics and one in math. And then he had a master's in English. And he had these 2 bricks on his desk, and he says, I'm a paradox. I'm a paradox. He was so amazing. He would dress up like Kiss on Halloween, you know, with the full face makeup and everything. I loved his class. Some of the best advice I've ever received, I received from him. We took our first test. There were 5 questions. And if you've never had physics, you're never going to finish the test. There's only 5 problems and you're not going to finish them. He would grade on a bell curve. You would do the best you could with the time you had, and it wasn't enough time. You'd get maybe 1 or 2 of them done. It'd take 3 or 4 pages. So I got my first grade for my first test. And he spent a lot of time trying to explain to the class. And you know what was crazy? My brother was in the class with me. My much smarter brother was in the physics class I was in. There weren't very many. My friend Vicky was in the class with me. And Cherie. You know, they all graduated top 10 in their class. I was 36th. He told me something. I was upset. I said, maybe I don't belong in here. I had my grade. I said, maybe I don't belong in here. And he just looked at me. I think he was a little surprised because most kids, if they don't get the grade they like, they bitch and complain and say, you're going to give me this grade, or you're going to give me that grade. And I think he was a little surprised. I just said, I don't think I belong in here. But I so wanted to be in this class. Gosh, I really wanted to be in this class. It's a wonderful class. He did this experiment thing where he had a bicycle tire on a pole, and you could hold up that heavy bicycle tire with one finger while it was spinning. I so wanted to be in this class. There are things of God in this class. Do you know what he told me? He said, Robin, always be the dumbest person in the room. Always be the dumbest person in the room. And he said, one day you'll look up and there's no more rooms. Because if you're the dumbest person in the room, you're going to learn so much. You're right where you need to be. He was also the calculus teacher. They had him consulting on the superconductor supercollider. They were buying all the land. We took a field trip there before they eventually closed it down for CERN. I was so sad when I heard of that. While I was in HOSA, I got my card, registered to give CPR. And I love this. There was the newspaper, the local paper was the Daily Light, and they would have this little clip, love is, and it would always say what love is. And it says, the final word. You know, God is love. He has the final word. Did they even know they were preaching God here? This was an incredible school. And it might still be. This was a simple public school. Tax dollars paid for it. If your kids didn't go to school, you got put in jail. Now, I have to prove where I live to get my kids into school. How the world has changed. I have to show that I live in this school district or that school district. It's not about every kid needs to be in here because they all need an education. If I didn't go to school back in the day, they would have put my mom in prison. This was a wedding. I think it's Tina's, but I'm not sure. Oh no, it was Stacy and Joe. Glidwell, they got married. They're very special. They went on a trip. My cousin Stacy and my cousin Joe. Glidwell, sorry. They're very, very, very special to me. She would find that funny that I have her wedding invitation here. This is my sister, Elisabeth. She is beautiful. This is my sister, Elisabeth. She has had a rough life. She is strong, and both her sons are baptized. Her youngest son has a master's degree in world studies and has studied at Oxford. My sister is beautiful in God's eyes. You know, she is so much more beautiful than me. So they always put sections in these where your friends write things to you, little notes and things so that you remember. This was my friend Melody. She moved off before we graduated high school. The one I went to Vegas with and the Grand Canyon when I was 12. So many different little things that people would write, and good luck and well wishes. And this is my friend Robert Rosenzweig. He was a Doctor Who fan too. Him and my friend Joel Bryant and Lee Jensen and my brother. This is my senior prom. I could have done an individual photo, but I didn't want that. I wanted all my friends together. They're wonderful. They're wonderful. And the invitation, you know, after the prom, a few of us went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. If you've never been to one, it's amazing. They actually do stuff in it, like at the beginning there's a rainstorm and they got people at the front squirting soaker hoses on you. And then there's a food scene, and then there's crusts of bread being thrown at the audience, like a food fight. And there's a card scene, and they throw decks of cards at you. It's so funny, the whole thing. And then they have this book of remembrance that you get. So at the end of my prom, we didn't do what other people seem to think is necessary, or whatever people do. You know, lose their virginity or make out or whatever the heck people do. I don't know. We went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and we had such fun. It has the officers listed and all kinds of stuff. It was amazing. It was amazing. When we were there, she was with us. Her dress was so beautiful. One of the gals there offered her, I can't remember what they offered her, but they wanted her dress and they offered her some stuff. She's like, no, I'm keeping this. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So you keep flipping through and pages. I just didn't fill out days remembered, holidays, vacations. This was a senior skip day photos. This is Lee Jensen. This one's older. The color's not as good, but this was from senior skip day. He went and joined the military. Lee Jensen did, and he went into California to join the military. He had a motorcycle. And this is me at National Honor Society induction. This was our senior graduation invitation, and just gives the time, just general information. Yeah, my maiden name, Robin Louise Stevens. And that is my senior picture there. And this is my friend Sterling. He's gone. He died a couple of years ago. Chris Jones, he was a football player. When I first moved to Waxahachie, I was in the 3rd grade and I was sat down at a table. Chris Jones was sitting at the table with me, and Jason Lane. Jason Lane died right after graduation. He was on his way home and had a wreck and died. It was horrible. But these were friends of mine since 3rd grade. And Lee Jansen. We actually dated for, I don't know, a couple weeks. I was very young. I think we were in junior high. I went over to his parents' house for Thanksgiving. And I remember he kissed me once in a big pile of leaves, fallen leaves. And these are more friends. And footprints in the sand. This is just some things they say. Hold on to the moment. Single file and yet together we have shared our greatest days, and we carry common memories in different ways. Though we don't know where we're going, we will cherish where we've been. I want to cry, I want to shout, want to let this feeling out. Hold on to the moment, let the feeling show. Hold on to the moment, never let it go. I can picture us together with my arms around my friends. Just let me hold on to this moment before it ends. There is laughter, there's tears, through the dozen golden years. And that's it. That's it. Our friends, you know, so much time has passed, and we hang on to these things and try to remember who we are and why. How far have we come? Are we still the person we remember? You know, when you have trials in life, when you're hurt, or your marriage, or you have a child that things just don't go well, you can become angry and bitter and filled with rage. Having these kinds of memories they're so important to remember who we are as children. You know, it's written, Jesus says, come to me as a child. We've lived so much life, and yet we're still children. We're still wide-eyed. Class of 91, we had such a unique experience. We grew up in such an incredible place. So they didn't finally finish the super collider there. They did it somewhere else. Yet we got to benefit from it. From the knowledge, the wisdom, the added emphasis on science and learning. I hope this finds all of you doing well. And if you need healing, the Lord will heal you. He has me do this to remind me where I come from. All this work that God's done in my life. And maybe that wasn't it at all. Maybe he just wanted me to say happy birthday. Robin, no matter how bad it is, you've been loved. And maybe that's what he wanted me to hear and see again. Judgment is coming. But he probably doesn't want that part of this. But do you have any idea how many of my classmates are baptized? There's quite a few. Quite a few. And I love them all very, very much. Love is the last word. God, thank you for guiding me today. Thank you for filling us with the Holy Spirit. Thank you for reminding us how blessed we are. And how thankful. King of Kings and Lord of Lords, one day, maybe you'll see this. You'll probably understand more than anybody why he'd have me make this video. To God all the glory. We step into the future together. In the name of the Son, Jesus Christ, amen.